And I'm Liz.
And we're sisters,
scientists,
and lifelong X-Files fans.
And this is We Want to Believe. All right, so welcome to episode 7. We're going to be talking about Ghost in the Machine today. But before that, I have 2 updates.
Which I have been waiting for like a week.
Yeah, the first
you told
one
me that you had them.
is real exciting. I'm sure all on the edges of your seats because in the last episode I said, I'll find out if my banking software allows me to deposit checks online.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Good.
This makes my life much easier.
Yeah.
So there we go.
It does.
I can scan checks and deposit them without leaving my house.
Oh, I'm happy
I don't
for
have
you.
to deposit them at the ATM. So that's my first update. But more importantly, thank you to Connie Kalsh, listener and very good friend, who actually informed me about this. I'd like to remind you all about Doug Hutchison, the actor who plays Toombs in the episode Squeeze.
Okay, yeah.
He is the guy who married the 16-year-old in his acting class when he was 50.
Right.
Courtney was the person's name that he married. It's important that I remind you that Doug's partner's name was Courtney.
Okay.
Because Connie looked up Doug to see more details. As you'll recall, I told everyone latest update from Doug that we'd heard is he was working with therapy goats.
Oh, yeah.
And so Connie decided to do some more research and found that he wrote a book called Flushing Hollywood, I think it was. It is, by all accounts, very bad and very much like...
I wouldn't have gotten that from the name.
And it's like a tell-all that makes him sound really... Well, I don't think it actually does, but it's designed to make him sound good, I guess. Nathan Rabin, a writer that I really like, read the book and wrote an article about it and how terrible it was.
Okay, yeah,
he likes to read terrible... Nathan Rabin reads terrible celebrity tell-alls and writes articles about them, and they're pretty funny. So, yeah, Doug Hutchison has a very long sort of review / like deep dive into this terrible book he wrote. But on his personal website, the important thing is he's also in the process of writing a children's book about his Italian greyhound.
Oh, no way.
Named Dortney. So.
Oh, that's really weird.
Yes. Dortney.
Oh my God.
The dog. So.
Oh,
I've been dying to tell you that.
Especially because, like, it's not like Mary and Carrie. Dorothy is not a name.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
All right. God, that's really disturbing.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Connie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice detective work there.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Wow.
So
all right.
That was the most exciting thing I had to offer was Dortney. The dog. Doug Hutchison's dog.
All right. So Ghost in the Machine, which I guess we have to talk about now.
Can I offer my quick take on it?
Yeah.
It was really boring.
Yeah.
I just could not bring myself to care.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not my favorite episode. And it also wasn't one that, like, I actively hated.
No.
But I didn't care really at all.
No, that's what it was. It was like, well, that was an episode of TV that I watched.
Yeah.
And so, we don't have to go as in-depth if both of us were bored by it. We'll just kind of talk about what it was. And whatever.
I did think there's, like, some interesting stuff. So the whole premise, to like really sum it up briefly, is that there is this computer system that this genius guy invented, and it's basically becoming sentient and murderous.
Yep.
And I mean that's it.
Yeah.
That's the episode.
Yeah.
And also I felt like all of the oh no, the artificial intelligence is getting smarter stuff seemed very dated.
Yes.
And very much like, well, yeah, we know the robots will kill us. Like, this is not... I did not find that to be news as maybe it was in 93. But,
also, I just felt like if by 2022 we haven't actually had any sentient buildings killing us.
True.
It seems really unlikely that they could have had the technology to do that in 1993.
Yeah.
It all seemed very low tech, like,
Yes.
you know, like a regular camera camcorder, like zooming in on them or whatever. So the genius guy who invented this is ousted from the company. And so they think that he's behind these murders. I think part of the reason the episode was not especially compelling is, as the viewer, you have no doubt from the start that it's this computer system killing people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, maybe if they'd made it like, is it the creator?
Right,
who,
Brad.
Brad, who like walks around barefoot and has some theories about
He's clearly
people.
supposed to be like a low, I wanted to say low tech, low budget not Jeff Bezos. What's
Steve
that guy's name?
Jobs?
Steve Jobs. Yeah.
Like he's meant to be like, he's the creative visionary genius.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like strange and, you know.
Yeah. And also, like, kind of not. Like, he just seemed like kind of someone I'd avoid at a party. Like, he didn't seem like strange in any sort of fun way.
No. Unlike the graveyard caretaker in the previous episode.
Yes. Yeah, him I would talk to at a party. Let me be clear.
I was about to say I'd avoid him at a party as well, but for different reasons.
Like Oren on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
One thing I did think was interesting was we got to see kind of like a friend of Mulder's, that other agent named Jerry.
Yeah, which I feel like...
Mulder has friends?
Yes, that is exactly how I felt. It's like, it seemed out of character, and I mean...
Well, maybe Jerry was his friend. Jerry dies in the episode.
Right, yeah, and maybe then that was it.
Yeah.
But there's also Danny that he always talks
to.
Danny. Who's his friend. So.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I put them more in like a work relationship.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean they're not friends.
No. Colleagues, friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, Mulder and Scully go out. They investigate stuff. Brad goes to jail because he confesses to the murders. And at first they think it's like so he can protect the computer system or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I thought it was a little bit compelling when Brad was talking about Oppenheimer and the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yes. And I wanted to hear your thoughts on that, knowing more about bombs than me.
I mean, I think that, a lot of the people involved in the atomic bomb lived with a lot of regret for their actions, for what that unleashed on the world.
Did they talk about that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, some people do, you know.
Hold on. Let's put this in context. So when Brad, the creator guy, was in prison, he was Mulder came and they were talking, and he was talking about this technology that he discovered or whatever, created, this super smart COS or what is it? Something operating system. Computer operating system.
I'll be honest,
I don't know.
I usually take notes. Didn't bother this time.
Yeah.
I just couldn't bring myself to. I was just like, eh.
See, and I took way more notes than usual because normally I'm too invested in the episode. But this time I was like, I can keep typing.
Got it.
So Brad starts talking about how, yes, this technology may have been dangerous or may have killed, but starts talking about Robert Oppenheimer and about splitting the atom and how that technology got into the wrong hands and kind of talking about that. So that's bringing it back to Oppenheimer. That's where that kind of came from.
Yeah, so basically Brad has put himself in jail or, confessed to the crimes in hopes that this technology will not get out so that he doesn't have the same regrets as Oppenheimer if this technology Brad came up with gets into the wrong hands. Although,
right.
I guess I feel like, what are they going to do with this? Create
killer computers that have to be installed in whole buildings before they do anything? I mean, like...
Yeah, like, hey, other world leaders, come into this elevator and our computer will kill you.
Yeah.
That if it decides to, like...
Yeah.
So I didn't totally follow on, like, the implications of this for changing the world as far as weapons, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. People have regrets about being involved with the creation of the bomb.
Well,
for sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure they do.
yeah.
I didn't know if there was any sort of like public statements that I wasn't aware of, or like people that were more outspoken about it.
I think Oppenheimer was, but honestly,
Was
I don't know off the top of my head. And as I told you, I was not super interested in this episode and didn't really look into it. I just Googled Oppenheimer, and I thought for a second, oh my God, he was really good looking when he was young. And then I realized I'm looking at a picture of Cillian Murphy. I don't know what I did wrong there. I don't know if he played him in something, but anyway.
Cillian Murphy is very attractive.
False alarm, everyone.
On the other hand, I need everyone to go look up, what's that dude's name? My name is Philip. Okay, Philip Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton's son, the one who died. I hope that's not a spoiler because it happened like 250 years ago. Yeah. No, I've shown you his picture, haven't I?
I don't know.
The Philip who was shot.
Oh, maybe?
Okay, hold on. I'm going to get the picture.
Oh my God.
Right? Now, what's interesting is I sent this to my friend.
That's a real hot guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent this to my friend Melanie, interestingly, and she was like, whoa. She said something that didn't make me think she was talking about him being hot. Oh. And it was because she thought I was showing her because she thought it looked so much like my son's that, like, he looks like he could be a relative.
I mean, your sons are children, and that's a hot adult. So, I don't know. It's not how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to say.
Yeah. But also, out of curiosity, I looked it up, and apparently there was a meeting between Oppenheimer and President Truman in which Oppenheimer said he felt like he had blood on his hands. And Truman ended the meeting and was mad at him and said, I don't want to see that son of a bitch in my office ever again.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Whoa.
So yeah, he definitely felt remorse.
I mean, and that is like, I don't know. Me and my students were actually just talking about this because I had them read the book Unwell Women by Eleanor Cleghorn.
Oh, I haven't read that. Mm-mm.
God, it's really good. It's good in the sort of way that will make you really angry.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's something I made my students read because a lot of them are pre-med and want to be physicians. And so, like, I want to hammer into them ethical behavior and try to get rid of their, you know, inherent sexism, etc. But it goes into J. Marion Sims a bunch.
Don't know who that is.
Oh, he's the quote-unquote father of gynecology. And he did some very horrible things to enslaved women.
Oh, my God.
And we were talking about, like, we still use all this knowledge. I mean, like, it's the same how, like, I feel like the X-Files even gets in, not that, but gets into the Nazi
oh, for sure.
Science
Operation
later.
Paperclip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't have answers for that.
I do not feel prepared to answer complicated ethical questions.
No.
But I thought it was interesting, at least, that the X-Files sort of touched on it. I thought it was at least the most compelling part of a rather uncompelling episode.
Yes, agreed. I will also say during this same part, I was taking notes and my keyboard started acting weird and just had like a string of A's all of a sudden when I wasn't even touching
awesome.
the
Like
A.
it was screaming?
Oh, God. My computer is sentient and it's concerned that
honestly,
I'm onto it.
I'm watching the computer we're recording this on right now just to see if it is up to anything. I'm watching. Nope. It knows I'm watching, though. Okay. I mean, here's the thing. We say all this, and it was so, noteworthy in 1993. On the other hand, I was, like, idly talking about how I needed to buy a new bra, and now all my ads on my phone are for bras that are comfortable, and I'm convinced it's because my phone heard me, but I'm like, it's because my phone heard me, probably, right? Is that a thing? And I don't even, like, there's no emotion associated with it. I'm like, oh, yeah, probably that's a thing.
Yeah, that's true.
They say it's not, but it sure seems like it is.
Yeah, I can't remember. I read something non-official on, like, I think, like, a Twitter post that was shared on Instagram or something about how that stuff actually works. Like, about how... And it wasn't like, oh, just your phone is listening to you. There was something more in depth.
Okay.
But it was so in depth that I forgot. So I basically just was like, oh, okay, my phone's not totally listening to me. And then that was where that ended. But also, I mean, like, it kind of is. Like, the whole... I mean... It certainly keeps track of stuff we search for.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, like,
of course.
You know, and that's just kind of accepted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. And maybe that was...
And now we feel so blasé about it.
Yeah.
I mean, even more than I did like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Let alone in 1993.
Right.
I mean, we didn't have the internet in 1993. The world did, but our household did not.
When did we? I was trying to remember.
We got it in 1994.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
I was in 7th grade.
Okay. Because I remember when we got our first computer and how like giant it was and exciting and stuff.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure what exact year that was. So 94.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We had dial-up, of course, obviously.
Yeah.
We had a separate phone line, so we were like lucky in that way that we...
Did we right away?
Yeah, we had one to begin with for some other reason.
Oh.
I don't remember why. Yeah, but we had a separate phone line in the office for some reason. So.
Oh, okay. I did think it was interesting, all the like modem sounds that were in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
And thinking about how long it will take for people to not know what that sound is.
Do you think that it's going to take a while?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, does Gen Z know what that sound means? Or, like, will my children know what that sound means? Like, how far
Play
do
them
we
the
have to
sound
get?
and ask if they know what it is.
Oh, no, they won't know it at all now.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I'll
100%
ask Quinn.
sure. Ask Quinn.
Yeah, my 16-year-old stepson.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what Quinn thinks.
Yes.
Be like, what is this sound?
Yeah.
I bet he'll know.
I bet he will, too.
But not from direct knowledge, to be clear. From someone else playing it in...
A movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody of interest shows up at the end of the episode.
Yes, that was, at the end, when Mulder is, we see him sitting on a bench outside, which also seemed un-Mulder-like for some reason. He was wearing sunglasses, which he looked very good in, I thought. And we see Deep Throat come up to talk to him.
And that's the guy that he met in episode 2, who
we haven't seen since.
Yeah,
right?
we haven't seen him.
And he's going to become like a big deal.
And Mulder and him in their talk make it sound as if they've had an ongoing relationship, like working together since then. Like, even though as the viewer we haven't seen him since episode 2, I think it's Deep Throat says something like, you can't just call on me, that's not part of our relationship, or something like that.
Yeah.
Implying they have some sort of ongoing
relationship of sorts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's some sort of informant working in secret with Mulder and giving him information, and now is interested because of this fancy computer system of Brad's.
Right. Well, I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, it was because the reason why that guy was killed in the beginning of the episode, why the computer killed the guy, had something to do with the fact that that guy had been working with the Department of Defense. Remember? And so...
No, I don't remember.
That's okay. He was.
Okay.
And so the Department of Defense was kind of off after that software. That's how we get to the whole Oppenheimer thing and stuff.
Okay.
And so I think Mulder was talking to Deep Throat. I'm looking at my notes on this. And he was asking him where Brad is. Because so they found out it was like accepted that the computer killed the guy. And so he wanted to know like, well, and also killed Mulder's friend, Jerry. And so Mulder wanted to know like, well, why isn't Brad out then?
Yeah.
Right? Why is he still in prison? And I did think it was interesting that so they're talking and Mulder says they can't just take a man like Brad without explanation, and Deep Throat says they can do whatever they want, which I feel like is a good like primer for the more conspiracy episodes with the syndicate and stuff that's coming up.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Mulder also, Mulder eventually destroys the computer. And he, by doing that, also destroyed the only exonerating evidence, which is cool.
Sorry, Brad.
Yeah. But I think Deep Throat was involved because of the whole Department of Defense angle.
Which it's interesting. It's come up kind of a lot, the Department of Defense, because they came up in the last episode in Shadows.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And we know stuff comes up later from having seen it.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny. So when Mulder is going into the building to try to destroy the computer, Scully ends up in an air vent for a while. You remember that?
Yeah. Does she like slides down one, right?
Yeah. She's up in the air vent, and because they can't get in past the computer locking the door.
Right.
And so Mulder like boosts her up into an air vent, which just seems like poor Scully.
Yeah.
And
I just was thinking about Die Hard.
oh, see, I was thinking about that episode of New Girl with Bucky. Do you remember that?
I don't know New Girl that well.
It's when Cece and Chevrong were getting married.
Okay.
It was in like episode 2, and they're at the hotel for the
Episode
wedding.
2?
Oh, sorry, season 2.
Oh, okay.
Season 2. End of season 2. And they're at the hotel, and there's like must be a Badger game, because there's like a Badger, Bucky Badger.
Oh, that Bucky?
Yeah, that
Oh.
Bucky. Yeah, and Winston is all excited because he's an athlete and
Okay.
and is like all excited to see Bucky, and they're trying to ruin the wedding because Schmidt is in love with Cece.
Right.
And so most of them end up in an air vent over the wedding, and the plan was to release Bucky onto Cece
an
and
actual
Chevrong.
badger?
An actual badger.
Yes, that is familiar now. Yes.
Yeah, but then Bucky ends up loose in the vent. And,
Right.
That's just...
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that a badger would have really livened up this episode.
It would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens in Die Hard with an air vent?
Oh, well, he's like
I
creeping
haven't
along.
seen it in a while.
Well, that's an air vent, isn't it?
I don't know.
You know, he's like in the ceiling. I think it's an air vent. God, I watch that movie every Christmas.
Yeah, I can't picture.
You know, it's like a famous
Yeah,
thing.
I think so.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it made me think of Die Hard, though.
Okay.
That is a true statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what else you got?
On this episode, nothing. It was real boring.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next episode is Ice.
And that I am excited about.
Yes, I'm already excited.
Yeah.
I feel like I already have stuff to say about Ice.
Yeah. So you remember that one?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember really liking it.
Oh, I did have one more thing to say about this episode. Was just that, like, the whole thing had a sort of rip-off feeling as well, that, like, it was, like, or maybe rip-off, or maybe you'd say homage to, it's, what is it, 2001 A Space Odyssey?
Really?
Yeah, because of the whole, like, I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. The, like, computer that, like, Hal.
Oh.
Hal 9000, the ship, like, becomes sentient and takes over, and, you know.
Oh, really? Is that the deal with it?
I guess eventually. Because here's the thing. I watched the first half of that with, like,
Yeah.
the monkey and the obelisk. Maybe apes. They might not be monkeys. I'm sorry.
Should be.
I'm honestly not sure, but there's definitely an obelisk. And I don't know. I think I fell asleep. But
Yeah.
I'm very aware of the end of the movie just from pop culture, where, like, Dave is the human, and then it's like there's a artificial intelligence computer named Hal 9000 who's trying to take over, and, you know, Dave will give him commands to, you know, stop doing this or whatever, and he'll be like, I'm sorry, Dave, I'm afraid I can't do that. Does that ring a bell? Like, that sort of, I'm afraid I can't do
it
that,
doesn't.
Dave.
But
Oh,
it's
okay.
ringing a bell from having just watched this episode. Like, I know
Gotcha. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was very, like, 2001 A Space Odyssey-esque, but boring.
See, isn't 2001 A Space Odyssey really boring, though?
I mean, like, people love it.
Why?
But clearly it can't be that interesting because I fell asleep, so I don't know.
I mean,
Sometimes people like boring stuff.
Yeah. I watched it when we lived downtown, and I had a crush on one of our neighbors, and so I would go over and watch movies with them all the time.
Yeah.
These were the downstairs neighbors.
Yeah, gotcha.
I had crushes on multiple neighbors.
I knew. Yeah.
So I would go over there and watch movies with them, and one of them, not the one I had a crush on, had, like, really obscure and...
We watched a lot of David Lynch movies with them,
Yes.
too. Yeah, I was
Yes.
just thinking about that because Inland Empire is going to be playing at the film festival coming up.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Woo!
I don't remember.
It's also like
that
3.5 hours long,
Oh,
but it's got
God.
a really creepy scene at the end. So it's like, how badly do you want David Lynch to creep you out, and how willing are you to sit still for 3 hours? Not enough.
Not very for either of those.
No.
Pretentious. That was the word I was trying to think of. He had very pretentious taste in
He
music.
did. I mean, I really like David Lynch movies, but I also agree that this particular neighbor's taste in movies could be described as pretentious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I know 2001: A Space Odyssey was one I watched, and I was just like, I don't know that this is worth it.
Yeah. Wait, so you watched the whole movie?
No, probably
No,
not.
okay.
I'm sure I made some excuses, said I was tired, and went back across the hall at some point. I would not have watched the whole movie.
I think it's also probably really long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, it seems like artificial intelligence taking control of things should be more compelling in film and TV, and yet apparently it isn't.
I don't know. And is it just that we don't care?
Maybe we don't care.
I don't know. I mean, I remember going to the drive-in movie theater to see AI.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Oh, God, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Do you feel like it was... I remember being bored out of my mind.
No, it wasn't boring. Maybe you were too
Really?
little. I don't know. No, maybe you weren't
I don't
little.
think I was little.
Oh, okay. I remember it being real sad in an emotionally manipulative way where, like, the family has little Haley Joel Osment, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And it's like... Then they, like, leave him in the forest because they're going to have a human child or something. Yeah.
And he's not a human child?
No, he's a robot. Sorry. He's like a
Oh.
really convincing robot child. And then they leave him in the forest.
Oh, God.
Which, yeah, extremely emotionally manipulative.
Huh.
And then Jude Law is like a space prostitute robot or something, I think.
That's pretty much all I remember.
And then they have adventures.
Okay.
And then it ends real weird and sad where he's like, where Haley Joel Osment or Jude Law, one of them, I don't know, is like under the water forever or something and
God.
aware of it.
Oh.
I don't know.
Huh.
I never wanted to watch it again, but I didn't think it was boring. I thought it was emotionally manipulative.
I thought it was boring.
Yeah, I guess it could be both.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care that much if the robots want to take over. I feel like we could use some changes on our world. Maybe the robots can do
Yeah.
a better job.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It just never feels compelling enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, maybe if this episode had been set up so we thought maybe Brad was
Yes.
a killer, maybe
Right.
it would have been more interesting.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's clear from the get-go, here's the situation, and we're just running out the clock for Mulder to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Yeah. But next up is Ice, and I'm super excited about that.
Speaking of Ice, and speaking of homages, Ice, if I'm thinking of the right episode, is like a great homage to The Thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
it's so intense.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So that'll be.
And something about, like, I think it's in Alaska.
It's definitely somewhere cold.
It's somewhere cold. That was going to be my point. I
Yeah.
feel like episodes that are somewhere cold have this sort of, like, ooh, feeling to them. I don't know. Like, I love when the Antarctica part.
Oh God,
in
all the
movie.
Antarctica stuff.
And
yeah.
yeah.
And the black oil. I mean, that's
Yes.
we're not at that
Oh,
for a while,
man.
but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we'll just make it a short episode this week.
Yeah.
But we do, to compensate for how short this episode is, we are recording a bonus episode, so make sure to look out for that as well. We're taking listener questions. We got some fun ones, so go ahead and listen to that too. And next up is Ice.
Bye.